Welcome, punters, to Rosehill Racecourse on Golden Eagle Stakes Day. Mick, how pumped are you, buddy?
Couldn't be more excited, mate. It's a beautiful day out here. Sun is shining, wind's up and about, and I think we're on a good four to start the day. And I think it might even get slightly better than that. It's really good conditions out here.
Yeah, blowing a nice little breeze, and I look behind us here. There's the winning post, Mick. We've got the media groups behind us. What a great spot to be at. What we're going to do today, of course, is we're going to do a bit of a review of Rosehill, how it's going to play, go through the big races on the Golden Eagle card, and then we're going to look over to Flemington, of course, and take the Group 1 races there. They're all big races, but we're going to focus on the Group 1 races. So to kick it all off, Mick, tell us about this track today here at Rosehill. How do you think it's going to play?
You're on a good four. I think rails in the run is always ideal over the 11 and 1200 metre starts. I think lanes 1 to 6 is going to be probably the most profitable place for the punters to be looking for. And I'd suggest to you that beyond lanes 8, probably a little bit hard to make up ground. It's a little bit sticky out there at times. So depending on how well that's dried out over the past week, will be really interesting to see. One thing I will suggest, though, punters, as you get into those fields with a lot of speed, like the Golden Eagle, potentially you might see some backmarkers come into play there, but really worth keeping an eye out the first few races with those big fields, especially the highway will give you a good indication. Yeah,
interesting analysis there, Mick. Obviously thinking too about the nature strip, the 1200 metres there, a lot of speed with Eduardo, Private Eye out in the car park. Will it go forward? Will it go back? We'll talk about that, of course, so I'll hold your comments until we go through these, but we're going to kick off and go through these Group 1 races, and, of course, Race 6, the Rosehill Gold Cup, over the 2,000 metres, Mick, and Quality Time's favourite, obviously the Port Macquarie Cup winner. They've backed it in overnight too, War d'Argent, which actually got a bit of a tip from a very good source, so I'm very interested in your thoughts and its chances. Honey Creeper, and of course Stockman, who is set to go around on Tuesday in the Melbourne Cup. Interesting tactics there from the owners. What's your thoughts?
I think Stockman's going around for a trial. You're not meant to say those sort of things, but I suggest he'll be finishing off very strongly, looking for the 3,200 metres on Tuesday. It'll be a great prep run for that. Galloper, for mine, I think Quality Time's a horse you want to be with. I think back to a dry surface is suitable. It was very impressive at Port Macquarie. Really impressive over 1,900 metres here too. Starts back. It's on the way up. Haven't seen it ceiling yet. It's a horse that maps an absolute treat today. And for mine, best bet of the day under the current scenario is Quality Time.
There we go. So there's Mick's best. Is that a Mick's moral, Mick?
Oh, yeah, why not? I'll tell you what. How could I possibly steer into this Boris d'Argent? How would you know?
Boris d'Argent. You obviously haven't taken your Frenches and what?
D'Argent.
Bois d'Argent. I think that's right. I'm sure someone in our French community will pick me up.
You got Jamie Spencer, who's obviously an absolute jet, but riding Rosehill from barrier 12. Good luck.
Yeah. Okay. So there we go. Is that a knock, or is just you don't want to be on it?
Just have no idea, so I can't steer into it.
I haven't done your French form.
Have not.
All right. So of course the Nature Strip Stakes is race 7. I think one of the most exciting races today, almost like the comeback after, of course, the Everest. A lot of starters who were going to be or were in the Everest back up here, and I think a lot of punters are excited about this one, Mick. Obviously lost the running favourite. Back after a scratching, Marzu. First go around beyond 1,200. It'd be interesting. Will the extra 100 be an issue? Private Eye, sort of in the car park. Always a challenge here at Rosehill when you're drawn that wide. Eduardo obviously going to be the leader, and Masked Crusader blew the start in the Everest. Maybe the extra distance might suit. What are your thoughts, Mick?
Yeah, the extra distance definitely suits Masked Crusader, but the 1,300 metres at Rosehill does not. It is not a setup that's really to this horse's chances. So for mine, definitely happy to be against Masked Crusader. It'll be a really interesting speed map. Eduardo will go forward, there's no doubt about it, but it really tried to burn the candle at both ends last day. If they try to do that again today, over 1,300 metres, I think he's very vulnerable. I just don't think he's going as well as he was last prep.
Yeah, okay. So where's your money, Mick?
I think this is probably another one of the best bets of the day here. We're going to go Lost and Running. Missed its grand final due to a bit of a skin issue. Bit of ointment goes on. John O'Shea suggested it was only going to be a day away from a peak performance in the Everest. Obviously, they couldn't turn up, put that on and line up. But it'll be lining up, and I think it'll be winning, and I think it'll be winning well.
Yeah, okay. So the setback, no worry there, Mick. Obviously, O'Shea has indicated it was a very minor issue. So No issue at all there?
No concerns whatsoever.
Yeah, okay. What do you think the tactics will be on Private Eye? Obviously, drawn wide, 1,200. They're pretty much turning when they come out of the gates. I mean, tough one. Does it go forward, get aggressive, try and park up alongside Eduardo, or does it go back and try and hope there's a bit of speed on and fly home?
Yeah, Private Eye is a really interesting horse. I think a couple of preparations ago couldn't keep up with them. This preparation is actually showing some tactical speed nice and early. But if we see Private Eye in the first 4, please, I'll give it up.
Yeah, look, it'll be a bit of a challenge from the gate, assuming they will pull it back. They certainly don't want to be caught wide. An interesting race, but all the same, there we have it. So Mick's on Lost and Running. All right, so the Golden Eagle. I just cannot believe when I was checking the markets this morning, they keep backing light infantry, Mick, and it seems to be the big hype horse here in this race. Look, I was going to actually ask you how you do form when you've got a horse like light infantry coming in with overseas form. I understand it's only run on the straight track. So how do you assess that? What do you do?
You just got to trust in the stable. You've got one of the world's best stables there in Mara and Eustace in charge of a horse. The horse is clearly the best rated galloper. It's 3 lengths in front of everything else in the race. Only has to show up. Imagine, I pose this question to you. Imagine if it's improved since joining the stable. If it has, it'll be winning, and it'll be winning well. It's clearly the top on-top runner and gets a world-class jockey, gets a really good draw. And of the horses that are going to be midfield, it's the one with the best turn of foot, and it should be putting them away.
Yeah, look, I know your point about the improvement there because, I mean, obviously back at home, it's done some amazing things, gave Inspiral a very good run for its money. All reports are Inspiral is one of the best, or certainly was one of the best 2-year-olds in Europe last year. So, certainly something special by all reports.
Yeah, let's not get it confused. This is a world-class galloper, Group 1 world-class galloper that's meeting a moderate group of, gallopers at Rosehill today, and they suggested that if it went around the Cox Plate, it was a huge chance of winning. So that gives you a pretty clear indication from a stable like that it's a pretty good galloper.
Yeah, okay. So, I mean, any other comments? I mean, obviously that's what you're on, Mick. I mean, you've got Chain of Lightning in the Congo and I Wish I Win, which are all in the market. Anything you give a chance there at all?
Yeah, look, I think In the Congo is going to give a huge sight out in front with TC on board. All its peak performances, or 2 of its career peak performances, have come at Rosehill. This is a track. If it dries out and it's getting dry and the wind's getting up and it can run 1,500 metres, it will give a massive sight. So I'll definitely be with In the Congo. I won't be losing if that goes around. Overpass comes from the strongest form line.
Yeah, okay.
The Everest.
Any thoughts?
Just gets the tag behind In the Congo. Gets a huge chance of running top 3. I reckon we go light infantry to win, and then we can play the exotics there around In the Congo and Overpass and throw in a couple others. I know Dino Watling was pretty keen on Weewall that managed to sneak into the race with Frankie. Just be making. I'll tell you what, your money's on Frankie. You don't be worried. You'll be having a go. We know that.
Yeah, he definitely will. Thoughts there on In the Congo? Obviously, it has one up to 1,400. Extra 100 here to get to the 15. Front runner, any concern?
If there's a race course that you're going to run the 1,500 metres, Rosehill is the course. TC is the jockey and Waterhouse Spot are the training duo. So if there's a horse that's going to do it, In the Congo will do it.
Yeah, look, I just having a flashback there, Mick, when we were both on In the Congo, just trying to think of the race, and Gay had given instructions to just keep going, don't give it a breather, just keep going. And
handlebars down, TC on board. I think it was the Golden Eagle, and
put a
hole in one Animo with about 6 lengths to third. So we'll see a bit of that again today. Punters, it'll be a good spectacle seeing light infantry coming after In the Congo late.
All right, so that's our coverage for Rosehill. Let's have a look at the 3 Group 1s. I mean, how would you like to be there today? I suppose a great day. They don't have our weather today at Flemington, but we're talking about 9 group races for a 9-race card, 3 Group 1s, 2 Group 2s, and the rest are Group 3s. Quality race day. And look, I mean, how do you think the track will play there, Mick? A bit of probably a hard question in light of the weather, but it's a bit of a sit sprint track, obviously with the big straight. Any thoughts about how it might play? Any news, especially in those straight 6 races?
Yeah, look, the early mail in the straight 6 races is down the middle is going to be the place to be. The outside fence, J-Mac came out and suggested that it was no good after a few track gallops during the week, but is it's actually not too bad, and they'll probably get out there in the last race of the day there. In race 9, they'll get out there. So Zapateo and the like will head out that way. I think the inside is probably not the place to be for those sprint races. So down the middle, and I think big advantage to those drawn probably 6 to sort of 10 in those straight 6 races. As we're looking into the races we're going around the circle, I think off the rails, probably lanes 3 to 10 are probably the place to be. Lanes 1 and 2 could be a bit of a query. Lane 1 probably not ideal early. Lane 2 might hold up for a bit longer. Yeah,
okay, so it sounds like a bit choppy on those inside rails given some of the weather and obviously most well-worn part of the track. Look, hey, why don't we dive into race 6, of course, the Group 1 Coolmore Stud Stakes. It's for the 3-year-olds, Mick, a very exciting race. I mean, I think I heard in some of your all-in previews that you declared one here, or maybe I misheard, but I'll let you tell us what you think.
Yeah, managed to have a chat with the GOAT of Melbourne form, Dean Lester, the other day, and he's absolutely talked me into this. I was a fan of it anyway, but In Secret comes out of the strongest form lines. There's only 2 possible for mine if they, with all things considered, with a bit of even luck. Coming out of the right form race, the Golden Eagle, then you've got Jacquinot coming out of the Everest. They're the form lines you want to be with here. In Secret's the one that probably handles the soft track better. It handled a heavy track at Scone. Didn't rate that high that run, but it did the job. James Cummings came out and said, look, I prefer a good 4. Whatever. I think it gets a soft 7. It'll be winning the race. It's clearly the best horse. It's been set for this. 35 days, ready to go, straight off the Golden Eagle, put away, ready to go. It is the horse they all have to beat, and you got J-Mac aboard.
All right, so there we have it, In Secret. Persuaded by the GOAT himself, Dean Lester, and why wouldn't you be? He's in absolute cracking form. Hi there to Dino. He'll be taking care of the coverage there over at Flemington.
Just one on note in that race, punters. You got a horse like Economics starting around that $16 mark. It was a $2 favourite. Grand Impact came out and won that race. It's around the $10 mark. I can't work that out. If you like Grand Impacts, you have to be having something on Economics. But that's for punters out there that have any interest on those 2 runners.
Yeah, okay, it's an interesting comparison there. I mean, note also too that Jacquinot and In Secret have met before over the 1400 when Jacquinot won.
Yep.
I mean, what's changed there? Is it just In Secret getting a bit better there, Mick, or does Jacquinot sort of feel the strain of recent racing?
Yeah, it's a combination. There's a couple of theories, all right? One is it's fitter, it's going to handle that, Flemington straight, yada, yada, yada. It's not so much a crew for that. I'm just going to base both horses off their peaks, and I think that In Secret's the one that gets the best run down the middle. Jacquinot's going to have to be wide. It's going to have to get a bit of luck down the outside, which potentially may not be the best going at that time of the day. In Secret's had the perfect preparation. This has been a target all along, and on the soft 7, In Secret's the one you want to be with.
All right, there we have it. So Mick Gannon, In Secret, he's pretty hard on it. So do what you will, punters. Don't forget, tell us what you think. You'll see this on social media. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Put a little post underneath. We're always looking for feedback. Of course, the race of the day, the Victorian Derby there, Mick, for the 3-year-olds. I always get interested in this race. I know that you spoke to Dean Lester, that is, about what's the profile of a Victorian Derby winner. I always like that question because, most of these, in fact, none of these horses have gone the distance. So you're sort of looking for something, I guess, that tells you that it can get the distance. How have you assessed the field in light of that?
Yeah, it was an interesting race. I think if you look at a trainer like Graham Rogerson, he had a horse called Efficient that came through the race. So he knows what's going on. Sharp and Smart has now had this will be its 3rd run in 18 days. So we know it's rock hard fit. We know it handles the wet tracks. There's a horse that just lands on speed, gets the perfect run. You've got one jockey that just knows how to ride them in J-Mac there. There is absolutely no doubt that Sharp and Smart will be in the finish. Barclay Square comes through the Valley. I'm not a huge fan of the Valley form. Everyone's been talking up all week. I'm more than happy to have egg on my face between Paris Hills and Barclay Square coming out the race. I'm happy to pen them both. I think the Kiwis have this race at their mercy. Mr. Maestro has the best turn of foot. There's absolutely no doubt about that. And if they can settle more forward, I think Damian Lane might be a little bit aggressive here from the 2,500 metre start. If he goes forward and find a spot and can somehow lob in the top 5, top 6 there, Mr. Maestro will be the one that you want to be backing. But there's no reason why you can't back them both.
All right. So what's the tip for punters?
And back Mr. Maestro.
Back Mr. Maestro.
And then have something on Sharp and Smart as well as a saver.
And you have been saying that, I think, since your all-in show on Monday on YouTube. So
Since
nothing's
Monday, we've
changed.
been saying it for 6 weeks, mate. Some of us got the 34s.
All right, of course, there we go. All right, so of course the final Group 1 race of the day is the weight for age 16 over the 1600s, the Empire Rose Stakes, of course, for the fillies and mares, and La Creek, and she's lickety split. That's a Dean Watling say, lickety split, that one. I wonder if that'll sway him to be on it. Who are you liking this, Mick?
Dino, he loves She's Lickety Split, and all he talks about is the lickety splits. Let me tell you what, these Kiwis have got this race at their mercy again. La Creek ran a 3-length peak last start. Now he's got to come across the ditch, repeat that. You got J-Mac on, but very, very short now. I cannot possibly be with it. There's a horse that ran absolute, tell you what, talk about career peaks, Daisies at the Valley, 2 back. Blinkers on first time. You're getting around that $26 mark. This is a fantastic bet. This is the best each way bet of the day. Can run a career peak here again off a run at Caulfield where she was 3 wide, off a slow tempo. Wasn't really ideal. Today is her day. Daisy's around that $26 is an enormous, enormous chance. And this is a race that generally throws up a result.
Yeah, okay. And there's definitely a history about, double-figure odd horses coming in, Mick. So, look, courageous. Well done to be going out there on the limb. Anything you'd have as a saver there or anything?
Nah, all in.
There we go.
Just going to be all in each way. Daisies, chips in.
All
that
right.
time of day. Can't wait.
There we go. Mick Gannon, he's going out on a limb on this one. I mean, I'll tell you what, you'll be the toast of, they'll be shouting your drinks all night next week.
And so they should have a lobs, fair dinkum.
Yeah,
We'll be down in
absolutely.
Melbourne next week. If Daisy's lobs, just come find me. You won't be hard to miss. Be with a bloke with a ponytail and a vape.
And a vape. All right, so there we go, punters. We've covered the big group races today here at Rosehill and, of course, at Flemington for the Victorian Derby Day. Now, what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be coming back to you before each race here at Rosehill and also before the big races
At Flemington.
At Flemington.